And I tell you, you can get all the updates right here through our social media platforms. We're talking JoyNews on TV, on Facebook, and please make sure you log on now. We're also on Twitter at JoyNews on TV. You can watch us live through JoyNews TV on YouTube. You get all the updates. So don't worry, just in case you're transitioning out of the house, you can keep it updated. If it's in your car, please make sure that you get some things that will hook your phone onto your dashboard so you can just listen while you drive. It's very important. We're also getting all the latest updates when it comes to all the related issues. Now, let's get the discussion going. We do have the Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, ranking member for the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee, also a legal practitioner, Inusah Fuseini, right here. Mr. Fuseini, how are you?
Well, I'm good.
Great. You look good. And then we also do have Sethi Champong. He is also an entrepreneur and also has long-standing participation in politics with the MPP, Member of Parliament from Price, Chairman, Defence and Interior Committee. They make sure that, you know, the contracts that come for buying Airbuses and all those things go through them. He's here. Sato, how are you?
I'm very well, Roland. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm able to call him Sato because we've known each other for a very long time. You're so contesting, are you, in Price?
Sure. Okay,
no mischief on my part. I'll leave that. John Boydo was here on Monday, so we're able to have a nice conversation. I wanted to bring your case up, but he says no problem. All right, so let's get it going. And a number of things that should occupy our minds, but let me just get a minute from the two of you. Our case count is now 6,096, I believe. Okay. 96, so yeah, it's just behind us. So just good. And we all live in Greater Accra. We have extensions because of the work that we all do outside Accra. We're flattening, aren't we? You are defense. So health is a defense problem.
According to the last assessment by the professionals, they think we are really at the apex now. That's their analysis they offered.
So these are apex figures?
We're hoping so. You can't, if people follow the protocols, we adhere to the protocols and respect that me wearing this nose and mouth mask is also a right that I must try to partake in to ensure that I protect myself, I protect my colleague, I protect yourself. So these are things we all have to, you know, follow through, as well as the making sure the regular washing of hands with soap. If you can't buy a sanitizer, at least you bath each and every morning or evening. So a regular washing of your hands, making that part and parcel of your daily living. I'm very positive we will continue to do that. It is no joke, it has come, it is something which, if you look all over the globe today, everybody, every network, every media network you chanced on, you cannot sit behind it for beyond 10 to 15 minutes. This wouldn't be the subject being discussed. So we should all be very careful with it.
All right. And
yes, I agree with you that we are flattening. Even though we are increasing at a slower rate. And so,
really?
Yes, increasing at a slower rate. The last time, only 31 cases were added to the existing cases. We used to record 200 additional cases, 150, now 31. So we are flattening. The curve is not coming down, but it's not growing. At
an astronomical
rate. And the recoveries too are increasing. But that doesn't mean that we should lose our guards. Everybody's talking about a second wave, that if we don't take precautionary steps, we might be hit by a second wave. Nobody knows when the vaccine will come. Scientists have said that the vaccine is 12 to 16 months away. And until a vaccine comes, the world will never be the same. And so we have to adhere to the protocols. Social or physical distancing, you wearing nose masks. I'm not wearing mine. I've not brought mine. Then we have to also ensure that we wash our hands. When I was coming, I just heard a report that if you are able to wash your hands about 5 or 6 times in a day, the chance of you contracting it is significantly reduced. And use hand sanitizers, ensure that we stay at home if we have nowhere going. And where we have to go to shopping, we maintain a safe distance from other people. One cough, cover your mouth and your nose with either a handkerchief or a tissue or your elbow. Avoid touching your mouth and your eyes. or putting your hands in your nose.
You seem to know all the protocols. Well, that's good. Very well educated. But let's start from Parliament. And just yesterday, we were getting all the aggregated information. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our lead correspondent there, that you parliamentarians have been ordered by your speaker to take a test alongside your staff. And it's one of the foremost means. I was thinking it should have even been done before now. But comprehensively, what's the plan among you before now?
Well, I agree with you. And that is the problem with Ghana. That is the problem why we have gone to where we are. Because we are taking reactionary steps instead of proactive steps. Parliament adjourned on 1st May. Everybody knew that we were to come back on 19th May. Now, nobody knows where each and every member of Parliament went. Nobody knows where our family members went. And so the risk of members of Parliament contracting the COVID-19 disease or COVID-19 was significantly high when we went on recess. And so I had thought, I think I spoke on your network or other networks, I had thought that the best way to treat this issue was for Parliament to have invited us yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, Monday, a day before we officially resumed, to test all members of Parliament. And before yesterday. They've not done that. Yesterday we met, we transacted business, we met at committee, and so if anybody was carrying the virus, he was spreading the virus yesterday. And so you see how we are reactionary. If they do the test and they realize that some members of Parliament have contracted the disease, then they have to quarantine almost all members of Parliament. And that's a reactionary way of doing things. But better late than never. Let's see our status, whether we will come out negative or positive, and what steps to be taken to ensure that we prevent not only other members of Parliament, but also our families and those we come into contact with.
But Mr. Champo, by this time, I mean, you guys are big men. You men and women in the legislature are big men. So I'm sure many of you have privately undergone the test procedures or regimen already.
I think we all have to appreciate that this novel coronavirus is one thing that has taken the world by storm. And your guess is as good as mine. The superpowers that be do not even have capacity to really run the test. And at the outset, everybody got themselves struggling. And so I am quite cool that where we are now, Parliament, and for us, and my colleague, like my colleague said, and which is tried knowledge, since the outbreak of this pandemic, we have been at our work and we did not really break. We just went home on a 2-week break, and in the heat of it, we had to support the executive to ensure that the various measures that the executive were undertaking had the necessary legal backing, and to support them to deploy measures that will help us as a country get to where we are today. And so it has come to me as a good news now that within the space we work, we are going to have all of us put to test. I think some measures were taken earlier. Colleagues of ours who had traveled out of the jurisdiction had returned were asked not to come to work. We were asked to do self-quarantine when the pandemic started.
I'll be back in February and March.
Yeah, somewhere March, April. We were still sitting in the house, and so we were asked to stay away. And we all go back. We all go through our daily chores, through the normal day's exercise. And you see, this is a viral exercise, and it could be here even as we sit here, no matter how you sanitize the place. So the most important thing is that we should adhere to the protocols. But I think it has come as a good news to some of us, because we have to ensure that we test each and every person working within the legislature and the parliamentary service as well.
Yeah, and then, Mr. Fuseini, curiously though, I would want to know, and over the period we even talked to you, you were exercising on the heels and trying to get yourself fit because it's your daily routine.
Yep.
But ultimately, you should have been given some protocols as members of Parliament, knowing that I think your work entails meeting masses, meeting people you have never met before officially in the legislature, and then also meeting yourselves. So what were the laid down protocols even before this announcement on Tuesday?
Well, so what Parliament did when this pandemic broke and the President instituted measures, Parliament itself decided to scale down the number of workers that we were in Parliament. So to limit the number of people that will come into contact with. And so all our supporting staff, especially members of Parliament, were asked to go home. Mai went home at the end of February. She's not returned. I don't need her in Parliament. The work that she used to do for me, I do it myself. You will not see many staff members in the chamber because the reduced, and even if you are in the chamber, they are confined to the back of the chamber. They are not supposed to walk around and mingle, except where you want a document or they want you to sign a document. And so, yes, some protocols have been put in place to ensure that the numbers are reduced significantly in Parliament so that we maintain social distancing by default. If the numbers are not made, you will encounter many people. And then, just yesterday, when we went to Parliament, there was a conscious, deliberate attempt to ensure a form of social distancing. You realize that if you sat on your seat, to the seat to your left and the seat to your right would not be occupied. In fact, before we resumed on yesterday, I had said that it was important for leadership to engage the speaker.
Right.
Now, elsewhere in the British Parliament, that is what is done. Now, so we are 275. The minority members of Parliament are 106. We could do good protocol or good arrangement if we decided that only 58 of the 106 members of Parliament from the minority side must always be in Parliament. Then you have the 67 or so.
Being half of the majority.
Yes, of the majority, half of the majority to be in there. That way, you wouldn't need to announce that we should maintain social distance. Clearly, we will be able to sit, transact business, and then for 1 week or so, the other half will come. Leadership can always be there, or they can make some members of Parliament, like in Britain, they can make some members of Parliament permanent members and always add to the members of Parliament. Because you see, this pandemic is like that. Nobody knows when it will attack. Nobody. I mean, and you can pick it anywhere. Insofar as people move. When the disease made its famous movement from animals to human, when it jumped to human, we have not been able to control it. And human, because we move, globalization has exacerbated the ravaging effect of the pandemic. I'm told that if you are below 50 years, you stand 1% chance of dying from COVID-19. If you are above 50 years, the chances is more than 13%. If you are 80 years, it could be about 30-something%. And so, yes, until we come out with a vaccine, until the scientists come out with a vaccine, and we are hearing promising results of tests being carried out, we need really to be very careful.
Okay, let me just get a pick from you, maybe 30 seconds. The shots from Parliament, this is how it looks. This is good social distancing by your judgment enough?
Yes, you can realize that apart from the front bench, even in the majority front bench, you have only 2 members seated there, which is normally 4 members sitting there.
Okay.
And the minority too, you have averagely 3 people. And it is all spread out. The subsequent front benches, you could see purely the front bench being displayed. The first 2-3 benches, more or less the front benches, are all being displayed. And you can see that members are, most who are not in the chamber presently are in their offices at Job 600 following proceedings. And it is one of the ways we've been using to help ourselves. Officially, that is not a statement made on the House floor, but to encourage social distancing if you don't have a very serious business on the House floor. And the matter at the floor being discussed, if you can stay away and promote social distancing. I go with the counsel of my consultant. And this staff is my consultant, so I go with his counsel, and you can appreciate that, yes.
Okay, we'll still have to remain, and I want us to spend just about 5 minutes on the subject, about the appointment committee bringing a report on especially what their conclusions are as they sat through the vetting process for 4 nominees. And we do know that ultimately they all exhibited good skills while doing the interaction. You may say some members within the numbers would have a concern or two, but generally, what do you expect to see in that report ultimately?
Well, the report was late. I had a copy on my desk. I don't know what I was given an advance copy.
Have you gone through?
I've not gone through.
But you monitored the proceedings?
Very well, and I have formed an opinion already. I mean, I have said that if given the opportunity, I will talk to the performance of my own professor, Professor H.A.N. Mensah-Bonsu, Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu. I mean, she acquitted herself so well. I mean, we didn't expect anything less. I mean, I didn't expect anything less. I have known her for a very long time. I mean, at a point, I even used her as my reference. I spoke to Mubarak, who was asking the questions, and she said, look, I had to stop asking Professor Mensah-Bonsu questions because any question I asked, she anticipated, as if she anticipated the question. And she gave me a reply that I couldn't ask further questions. And then she said, oh, look, even when I thought that I had nailed her, because I asked her when she was supposed to retire from the university, she said, oh, yes, I was supposed to retire 6 months ago or at a particular point in time. But you see, the university runs calendar years. And so even if your retirement comes in the middle of the calendar year, you are entitled, you are supposed to complete the academic year before you retire. And so that's why you see that I retired when I was above retirement age, because we were still within the process. He said, look, the woman is sharp, and she knows exactly what. I mean, I have no doubt that her nomination will be confirmed by Parliament, and so the President will appoint her to the Supreme Court. I have no doubt that her contribution when she gets to the Supreme Court will further enrich the jurisprudence of this country. Professor Mensah-Bonsu has tremendous experience in criminal jurisprudence. Tremendous. I mean, and we want to see how she helps shape the jurisprudence of this country in fighting crime. Professor Mensah-Bonsu also has a lot of views on how the imposition of custodial sentences. I got to know that long ago, not now, 20 years ago. She said, look, you can't incarcerate a person for stealing a finger of banana.
But it's still ongoing.
And where we're still incarcerating.
She's stringing many lawyers
and that you send that person to jail, and you are feeding that person more than the cost of the finger of banana. Why don't you let that person provide community service so that he actually pays for the infraction of the law? I mean, does it make economic sense to send somebody to jail for the net wealth of an article he has stolen, which is far lesser than the amount of money you are going to use to feed that person? And so I have no doubt. But again, you come to think about Hunuga, Clements Hunuga, and you think that there's something fundamentally wrong.
Why?
With, all of us as people say things and regret, do things and regret. Remorsefulness is part of the demeanor of a person who is standing criminal trial in informing or motivating a court to impose a lighter sentence. And so, why will a person show remorsefulness when an act that the person has done is brought to the attention of the person says, oh yes, I think that I didn't give it proper due care and thought. Probably I would have done it differently. Then you know that, oh, you ought not, you have now come to realize that you ought.
And you're
not.
making this in reference to his comments before?
Before.
What was wrong with the comment?
Everything was wrong with the comment.
Oh, he's a traditional.
No. Everything
traditional
was wrong.
ruler.
In fact, when
that capacity as a traditional ruler.
It's wrong.
Because of his capacity in the other.
No, even his capacity as a traditional ruler is wrong. He was a dabbling in politics. There's a mandatory prohibition against chiefs.
But they do it all the time.
But that's impunity.
Why?
You want to encourage impunity?
Why should justice?
You want to encourage impunity? The fact that they do it and do it with impunity means we should let it go. And so, if a traditional leader is not of the stature of Justice Onoga and does that, you can excuse that traditional leader. But if Justice Onoga, who is a traditional leader, does that, he's presumed to know the law. You understand? So even traditionally, it's wrong. And then judicial officer, you are supposed to administer justice without fear nor favor. And then when you appear before a vetting committee, they put questions to you. And then you answer them with a tinge of dishonesty. It goes to the Article 1284.
It depends on who is
no, but if they ask
assessing.
You, no, if they ask you
what
who wrote the statement
responses.
for you, if they ask you who wrote the statement for you, and you say you can't remember.
But he can't remember.
And then and they ask you who delivered the statement to you, you say you can't remember. He said, did you read the statement? He said, yes, but I didn't concentrate on the content. So if the statement were to call for the arrest of Nana Akufo-Addo, you will read it. You will read it. You will remember the content. Because it was to endorse Nana Akufo-Addo.
That would have been an oversight. It's forgivable.
Yeah, but you just say that, look, well, I think that, yes.
Are you looking at this because of his stature?
No, I'm looking at this because of Article 128. And it's important for us to read Article 128 to your listeners so that you will know that, I mean, becoming a lawyer is a tedious matter. I mean, 5 years at the law school and faculty is very difficult. It's tedious. And so I will not fault a judge for an indiscretion if it was honestly done. But if the indiscretion was motivated by dishonesty, I'm entitled to comment on it. So you see, Article 1284 says that a person shall not be qualified. You see, it starts with a mandatory prohibition. A person shall not be qualified for appointment as a justice of the Supreme Court unless he is of a high moral character. So if you are dishonest, you can't be of a high moral character.
Who determine is of high moral character and proven integrity?
If you cannot remember who wrote a statement for you, you think that is honesty? Based on your assessment? Well, I'm just saying that we are using the objective standard, not subjective. If you say that you can't, and then proving integrity. If you lie, you can't have integrity.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that somebody will be made a traditional ruler of his own community if among all the people who emanate, come from there, live there, and he's not of high integrity?
First of all, traditional leadership has one defining quality, which is in the Constitution. A person must hail from the appropriate family or lineage. It's very defining. So if you have a class of morons in the family or lineage, one of them, the least affected, will be a chief. Because you can't go outside that.
So you're saying, forgive my word, we can have a stupid monarch?
But you have never seen that. In the history of monarchy, you have not seen stupid monarchs. You have not seen.
I've read about it, especially.
Yeah, I'm not like that.
The British monarchy.
Yeah. So,
yeah. A lot of them had been imbeciles.
Imbeciles. Yeah, so, but because you had to choose from them.
But the attribution, if
William the Orange, the reason why he revolted against them
was because there was a lot of inbreeding at the time, because they married among themselves.
They are just using that as the inbreeding has been with us, even still is with us. They're just using that as an excuse to show that the lack of mental capacity of the damn monarchs was because of inbreeding. No, it was just because they were privileged. And when a person is so privileged, he loses the sense of appreciation of the trials and tribulations of other human beings. But in any case, I'm saying that if you look at the chieftaincy, the provision dealing with chieftaincy, and if you look at the provision dealing with appointment to the Supreme Court, they all require some defining characteristics.
Some finesse.
Defining characteristics. Because a chief, you must hail from the appropriate lineage or family or lineage. A Supreme Court judge, you must have proven high moral character and proven integrity. And 15 years at the bar. After that, it's a given. Because if you are not 15 years, you can't get to the Supreme Court. And so, a judge, when you are made a judge, and those listening High Court judges and Court of Appeal judges, you are on the way to the Supreme Court. Your integrity and moral character must be matters that you must protect with your own life. Because you see, even those, I've been a legal practitioner, even those who have been nominated to the Supreme Court, go to the bar and listen. Just go to the bar.
So if you were the oversight authority, you wouldn't have approved him?
Justice Funaga. Yes. Why? Why will I approve him? Even today, if I'm given an opportunity to talk in Parliament, I will advocate for us not to approve him.
Justice
Not that I don't think that he's a good judge, but I think that he failed in the litmus test.
Please, 5 minutes for you. If you can take 3, that'll be better.
I think the Excellency, the President of the Republic, has really thought through all the people he's elevating to the Superior Court and ultimately to the Supreme Court of the Republic. And with the consultations and advices that he arrived at these choices, I want to thank the President for such wonderful citizens of our land being given the opportunity. As human, we may err, but to err, we will say, is human. So if Justice Honyanuga, my colleagues feel, and from their narrative and the opinion being expressed, is that he has meddled in partisan politics. Like Gustav was saying, Honorable
No problem. That's my name.
I agree. Most people don't call you that. So what I want to arrive at is this.
Mr. Inusah Fuseini.
Lawyer Inusah Fuseini.
No, call me Inusah Fuseini. Are you have a friend? Seth. Why?
Okay.
You have to be too nice. but I'm not actually saying that because he's dabbling in politics. I'm saying that when he was given the opportunity, he ought to have just said yes.
So you're saying erring the first time, fine. But the second time,
you shouldn't.
So that is where we differ in opinion. I am of the opinion that he did not err. He puts the facts as the record should capture it. Mind you, where we sit in Parliament, it's a house of record. And it's a house of record. And in ensuring that we do things properly, we must make sure that we go by the rules. And mind you, this is the angle and square of legality. You don't have to pleasure yourself. You must make sure you give the facts as they stand. And so I was congratulating the President for giving us such statesmen who really understand their job. And technically, none of them, the nominees, all of them discharged themselves. Juni Kulindi did very well. Sidi Tanko, excellent. All of them. And
Inusah says that you are trying to use 3 excellent ones to give credence to the 4th one.
You see, that is the beauty of democracy.
Fantastic.
We should all have our day. We should all have our day.
That's beautiful democracy.
We should all have our day.
Beautiful democracy.
We should all have our day.
And we